Season 13, Division 1, Round 9 here at Mandalika, and there is lag already, so good start. Craig doing the fantastic shortcut, as I'll try and maybe limit things that are connected to the Wi-Fi. But since, well, I don't really know, since like round 5 or 6, I've had connection issues, so, and VTR, you can see down in the background. So hopefully we won't have bikes flipping and all sorts, but we'll see. But the championship standings, 9 points separate VTR and Craig, with VTR in the lead. He cannot win the title today. With the maximum points Craig can can lose today is 10. So the gap will be 19 points at worst, or 1 point at best in Craig's point of view, as he's somehow high-sided in a straight line out the exit the hairpin, which is pretty impressive. But he exits the final corner now to start the opening lap of the session. It is cloudy in Mandalika, so that does make it better, because that means you can definitely run the softer tyres probably, and you don't have the really extreme heat. Into turn 2, now into the chicane. Now I'm not sure how much curb you can run, because I'm not really done any Mandalika. On the previous games, you could, well, the GP22, when the curves got redone, you could run the curves all you want. Last year, you could run most of the inside curves if you ran around the top, but then you would flirt with track limits. So probably for the first lap, it's probably best you just stick to the white lines, and then for the following laps, you can start risking using the curbs. But Craig, so far this has been a cleanish lap, and thankfully from our point of view, he's not been flying and doing somersaults and going backwards and forwards. So maybe just reducing the internet connection, or the devices that's connected to the internet, has done a better job. Does mean now I know how. Oh, there's still a bit of lag. So there's still a bit of lag, so I would rather not risk the lobby being laggy itself. So probably will change the host like we have done for the past couple of rounds. So ever since I think it's Sachsenring or Le Mans. I can't remember which track was first, but which track it was, I believe that was when the problem started. I don't know why, because nothing's changed, but I guess my PS5 just likes to not connect. But anyway, VTR sets the benchmark time, 27.3. No idea how fast it is. Last year, the fastest time I ever saw was a 25.3 bump from myself. So, not sure how fast that is compared on this game. I'd expect maybe a 26 at least. As Howling Siege now is rounding the final few corners as he's just entered the final sector. Heading towards probably the hardest corner on the circuit. It's very difficult because you've got to manage the lean angle, you've got to manage the front brake pressure, the rear brake pressure, the side of the tyre. Like, out the final corner. Where's the LCR Idemitsu Honda going to go? Goes fourth. BFL Minato. Currently on 3 red sectors. Cut the Monster Energy Yamaha rider. Take pole position for VTR, who has invalidated his lap, and so is Schmoyes. Craig with a red sector too, so Craig probably doing what I was suggesting. Take the first lap easy, second lap you go full attack as he's about to cross the line now, and Craig goes to the top by 66 thousandths of a second, but BFL Minato was stronger. He's been stronger over the first 3 sectors. Can he maintain that advantage and take pole position? Or he goes third. He lost some time in that last sector, probably in the penultimate corner, as Nelson now, who I do believe will have to serve a penalty, because I do remember him leaving in the Sachsenring. I will have to get confirmation on that, but I do believe that will be the case. Unless because he missed the last round, that means his penalty is null and void. And Nelson loses the front in the chicane. Really weird, just missed an apex completely. Like he wasn't even trying to aim for it. Schmoyes with a red sector one now. This is something you don't often see on the Red Bull Tetuar Gas. I've actually said that the wrong way around, but on the Tetuar Gas RC16. And it is a personal best in the second sector. So VTR, where is he? He's coming in the third sector, and no, he's not. That is Craig, and he's just gone through the sector point. But here comes Craig now. Craig. VTR, is it going to be another red sector? Yes, it is. And he's invalidated again. Now, VTR is ill, so that might just affect his consistency and his concentration levels, because when you are really ill, it's surprising how much of a difference it can make, even just playing a game. Like, in real life, it's quite easy to imagine because you're dead fatigued, but when you're playing on these, it's really, really not ideal. So Halley red sector, and I think he's got Nelson for company just in the background there. He's missed the curb there. We've run that curb there, so I think he's done that the wrong way round, and that is a definite exceeding of track limits for Howling, unfortunately. To go Nelson, 2 red sectors. Now Nelson, I say this every single time I see him on camera. He has the potential to win races, and he has done for the past 4 seasons. But for one reason or another, when the opportunity arises, he throws it away one way or another. Sometimes it's his fault, sometimes he's taken out, sometimes he lags out, sometimes it's a whole combination. But especially when you look at Catalonia, he could have easily won the sprint or the main race, but he threw it away with silly crashes. As he goes to 4th, he's just over 2.5 tenths from pole position, with 7.5 minutes remaining of the session. So VTR, I'd imagine he will be in the situation where you could say, my invalid laps would be enough to put me on pole position. If you do the ideal time, he probably has the best sector 1, 2, 3 and 4. Most likely, but some of them are invalid, so he's not got the pole time yet, but we wait and see as he's just approaching now the final corner. And he's going to set the bike up as early as possible, use the ride-out device to try and slingshot his way down the home straight as he will cross the line now under the Pertamina Bridge. He's got to look for that braking marker to turn 1. He's out the first corner now, heading towards the second one. Really tight chicane, really easy to lose the front if you hit the wrong spot. He's making a V out of that, so not quite sure if that's the most ideal line. I would have thought you want to make a U. But he has gone red sector 1, so Craig's first sector was not the strongest. I don't think his third was either. But he did have a strong second sector, from what I remember. So into the right and now the left. But we continue to steer right because of lag. And now hard on the brakes, in towards turn 10. And that was very impressive turning from VTR. Now we're going sideways. And now into turn 11, using some of the inside curve. Now flicking change direction to turn 12. He's running really wide through there, I think. As he's currently in neutral. Great out, really incredible. I was able to get some drive in neutral. Through the chicane now, through turn 13 and 14. Through 15 now into the hairpin. Modulating the front brake. Front end just wants to tuck. He's running a wider line. He's going to try and cut back, get the drive, head towards the final corner. Use a lot of inside. They don't even use any inside curve. He just touches the white line. Uses a lot of exit curb up to the line. He actually is invalidated. Via Felminato though, he made a mistake in the last sector in his previous lap. Can he take pole position from Craig this time round though? Up to the line. And again, he's lost time in that final sector. So Craig's done something in that last sector compared to Minato. He's in his red first sector, which is not that surprising. And now I believe we're going to see another red sector in sector 2. Yes, we are. So it's Aprilia 1-2, but it's a Trackhouse Aprilia in the lead with just under 5 minutes remaining. As we gain more somersaults. Unfortunately, my plan of disabling the Wi-Fi on my phone has not worked entirely. So Craig round turn 16 into the final corner. What can the current runner-up do? How far can he extend the goalpost? And will it be enough to hold off VTR? He's only done it by 66 thousandths. I'm not sure that'll be enough to hold off the championship leader. Radabaz plays really early there compared to Craig. And VTR goes pole by 0.7 of a second. And Howling goes into 5th. Craig red sector, but he's got to find 0.7. I can't see that happening, if I'm honest. Unless he pulls out the lap of his life. What's going on? Personal best in sector 2, so as the fuel load's going down, he's getting faster as you'd expect. But I don't think it's going to be enough. He's got VTR behind him as well. That's going to be a tiny bit distraction, I'd imagine. Especially VTR's cutting the course everywhere. Could just be something lingering in the back of his mind. But he's done the hairpin alright. How much is going to close the gap by VTR's recreating every single racing line known to man around this track. There we go, up to the line for Craig. And he improves by 0.3 of a second. But I think that might be it, for the battle for pole position, unless somebody can find some time out of nowhere. Schmoy's improving. He doesn't want to be in last place. Considering Howling is a Division 2 rider, it's not ideal for Schmoy's to be in last. He's been put in Division 1. And he's backed out of the lap. Is he going to go into pit lane? No, he's not. So Howling is currently grey sector 1. What about sector 2? His personal best. VTR putting in some fresh rubber, so he'll have one go at it on the really light fuel. As Nelson's gone down, Schmoy's red sector 1. And Howling's lap has been invalidated due to yellow flags. And he's flipping furious about that, as you can clearly see. So he's now going to get one more go to improve his time as Minato and VTR. Minato's got a perfect toe in VTR, and I think Howling could profit from this as well. Not quite sure what's going on here. Minato might have pulled over for running out of fuel, and that's Minato's session over. Unless he can somehow do a lap around here in under 40 seconds, which is impossible. So VTR, can you improve your 26.5? He's red sector 1. Schmoy's, quickly go to Schmoy's. Cross the line and he jumps into 5th. He does not start. He will currently not start in last position. But that'll in VTR, that's a big corner cut, and that's his session over. So let's see what Howling can do. Can Howling find any lap time? He's grey in the second sector. It's looking unlikely. As the timer has run out. Grey sectors everywhere, invalidations everywhere. So Howling is the last rider to come across the line. It's a personal best, but he's off the track. And that is session over. So VTR's on pole, Craig is second, Minato's third, Nelson's fourth, Schmoy's is fifth, and Howling Siege is in sixth. Right then, here we go for the... I can't remember how many laps, 12 lap race I think this is, or 4. Because the race distance was halved last year, and it was the year before, so it was only 20. Because they went 2/3. So we roughly, there should be a 12 maybe lap race or something like that. 12, 13 laps. It's a 120 something lap time, so you'd expect maybe a high 20, like maybe 27 laps, or 28 laps, or 26 laps. Then half that's 14, 13. It's a bit 12, so we'll see. Right, so here we go.
Will go out in a few seconds, and the Indonesian Grand Prix will get underway.
Can VTR put one hand on the trophy, or will Craig eat into that championship points gap? And we're off. And it's a fantastic start for Craig and for Minato as well. They head towards turn 1 for the first time. And it's going to be Minato who leads into turn 1, maybe. Oh no, Craig. Watch, there's still lag. There's Craig who leads. Minato's in second. VTR's in third. Schmoy's fourth. Howling fifth. Nelson in sixth. Howling looking up the inside of both VTR and Schmoy's, and Howling's moved his way into fourth place. Minato looking up the inside of Craig there. The end of the first sector, but he wasn't quite able to find a way through. Now, track limits is going to be a problem at this track. It's only a 10-lap race, so there's bikes of lagging, flying all over the place. VTR has managed to make his way into second place, so it's only a 10-lap race, so it's not as long as it should be. As Craig has a bit of a front-end moment, but track limits will be a problem, I can guarantee that, because the amount you have to, well, especially if it's like last year where you have to ride the curbs, inside the curbs. When you're trying to do that for 10 laps straight on the limit, you get, especially during the turn 6, 7, 8 section, or 7, 8, 9 section, sorry, it's going to happen at least twice, minimum, in a race. But Craig leads the opening laps. That will reduce the gap down to 6 points at the top. As we go on the brakes into turn 1, Craig is a bit hot. VTL looking up the inside for turn 2, but he's just too tight on entry to make a move. Through turns 2 and 3, and now 4. Craig just holding up the advantage, and Minato is able to find a way through on VTL, and VTL picking up a incident warning. Two warnings actually, one for track limits as well. Schmoyes has already picked up a long lap penalty in the space of 1 lap. That's quite impressive, unless he was given that for any antics in Laguna Seca last time out. But with Minato now in front of Craig, in front of VTR, will that allow Craig to just extend that gap ever so slightly over his championship rival, as Minato's bike's gone completely flying towards the start-finish line? And it's another warning for VTR. And it is painful to watch, honestly. But I don't know why it's like this, but it just is. As Craig comes to start lap number 3. 8 laps to go already on this. It's going to be this is one of the shortest races on the calendar, purely because I don't know why, but the race distance has been corrected from 2022 because it was shortened because the track conditions were going to be quite slippy. As Nelson now picks up a track limits warning, and along that to go with it, as Craig also has picked up a warning, and Minato fastest lap of the race, so Minato's got some pace here. The Frenchman on board the Monster Energy Yamaha might just upset a few things here at the top of the standings. He's definitely not in any championship contention after joining halfway through the season. Maybe he doesn't even know about the championship standings, but he probably guessed that VTR and Craig are near the top. But he won't care. He just wants to win, take his first victory, and Craig picks up another warning. This is what I'm saying. Everybody's on warning, so it's going to be a tough task for the riders to stay within those track limits. Nelson hounding the back of VTR and Minato, but Nelson does have the long lap penalty, so he's going to have to do it at some point in the long lap. And Nelson hits the side of VTR, and Minato has been properly forced out wide and has now dropped down to 5th. That is Minato's race pretty much over thanks to the aggression of Nelson on VTR, which left VTR nowhere else to go, and Nelson being given a drop place penalty, which he does do. So now that unleashes VTR free reign to close in on Craig. And will Nelson now try and do his long lap? Yes, he does. And he has done that successfully by the looks of it. Fortunately, the long lap penalty doesn't go off, so there's no telling whether it's been completed or not. So VTR has already closed in as the gap can fix itself. About 2 tenths probably on Craig in the first 2 sectors. And Nelson picks up another track limits warning, and he's going to get another long lap penalty soon. But Craig's still up front, trying to hold on. He needs to. It is basically not win or bust, but he needs to leave Mandalika with the winner's trophy if he wants to have a chance at taking the title next week. Oh, and Howley's gone down at the final corner, and that promotes Minato back inside the top 3. But he is just under 2 seconds away from VTR, who has just set the fastest lap of the race, the first lap where he has got clean air, and he goes straight to the top of the fastest lap board. And the gap is now under a second, around about 6 tenths of half a second, so that's 1 second a lap quicker. It's a bit ominous for what's about to happen in the next lap or so. Can Craig fend off the factory Aprilia? As they head towards turn 10, hard braking as they exit now, heading in towards turn 11. And then you flick it over to turn 12, so many different lies you could take to make. As they now are into the final sector. I'm noticing VTR and Craig are not taking liberties with track limits, they're staying away from the curbs, trying to stay away from that green paint, because I mean they are going to lose time because of that, but it's in the long run it's probably worth it, because you can see somebody we've already got 2 long lap penalties for Schmoyes and Nelson. Other riders are really close to long lap penalties, and they've had multiple track limit warnings in just the space of 2 corners, which is so easy to do at 7, 8 and 9. So as we start the second half of this race, can VTR find a way through on the Trackhouse Aprilia? Through turn 2 into turn 3. Craig's bike's dancing. Thankfully on their end it looks normal. If it was like this for them, I would dread to think how they'd cope. But VTR's now all over the back of Craig. Can he find a way through at turn 8 or 9? No, but I think he's going to try and go into the slipstream and pull out for turn 10. It's a classic move at Mandalika. We saw Pekka Bagnaia doing it a lot of times last season. VTR goes up the inside, but I think he's gone wide, and Craig's taking the place back immediately. So that's the problem when you try and gain those extra yards in braking. You can easily just outbrake yourself, and you can't afford to brake the same way, because then you probably will lose the front. So VTR got to do the work again. He's got to close up to the back of Craig, but he's had one go. He knows turn 10 wasn't successful, as Craig exceeds track limits. So they're both. VTR is on a 4th warning. So VTR's got to be careful. Doesn't pick up a long lap penalty here because I'm not quite sure. I mean, a long lap penalty at this circuit's not too bad, but you do lose a bit of time. But I don't think you lose 1.8 seconds. I think you lose a bit less than that. It's not as bad as Austria, so I think VTR will still be okay for second for now. But he's got 4 laps and not exceed track limits. That will hold him back just that tiny bit, which means Craig has just got that tiny bit of freedom over the factory rider. He's a bit hot into the chicane, but I just don't know if that might just be VTR's line to set up the exit for turn 4 and then through turns 5, 6. But especially for this section now, VTR is going to be taking this section very, very carefully. He's running the curves, trying to not touch the green on the white line, and now hard braking into turn 10, hugging the inside curb. And Howling has picked up a warning, so he's also 1 warning away from a long lap penalty. So is Minato, but Minato is closing in on these two in front. The gap was 1.9, it's now 1.3. So can Minato pull an upset here? Minato was forced off the track by VTR, who was pushed wide by Nelson. The Frenchman easily could have the race pace to win here. Can he steal second place from VTR? Could he even steal a win from Craig if they're not careful enough? As they exit the final corner, 3 laps remain as they go into lap number 8 of 10. Into turn 1. This is where you've got to stay ultra focused. Let's see the tyre situation, because I'd imagine the tyres are holding up fine because you're not running for as long as you're meant to. The right hand side of the front tyre is taking some beating, which is to be expected. But there's nothing too crazy. VTR's got a bit more on the right hand side, but Craig's got more rear tyre, so it sort of equals out. So with 2.5 laps remaining, VTR slowly creeping up back on the track house of Aprilia. And definitely time in 2.5 laps, but it's risk and versus reward for VTR. Does he risk taking that couple of meters out of the track and risk taking that extra track limits warning to close in on Craig, or does he do the longer way, which is a lot safer, but obviously makes his life just a little bit more difficult as he runs a bit hotter? So it definitely seems like Craig may be just using the fatter part of the tyre a bit better than VTR, but on the brakes, Craig's using more of the front tyre. As they start the penultimate lap of the race, lap number 9 of 10. The gap staying pretty stable, and they have pulled out a gap over Minato again. So Minato, who did set the fastest lap on lap number 7, I think is not going to be within a shout of winning unless these two in front of him make a big mistake. And Craig, look at how much inside curb he's using. He can afford to do that because he's got 1 warning in the bank, and he's grown the gap up to 7/10 in that first sector, and he's absolutely nailing this here. Curb to curb, white line to white line. Minato has picked up a long lap penalty, so that will mean Nelson will be promoted to the podium places for now. As they go into turn 10, VTR's closed in on Craig. The gap's now 0.3 a second. VTR absolutely nailed the 7, 8, 9 section. So even though Craig nailed turns 1 to 6, VTR just gained that extra time in 7 to 9, and Craig using a lot of inside curb at turn 12, and he's lost a bit of confidence on the front end. Here comes VTR up the inside into the chicane potentially, but he just can't get through. You have to fully commit to that corner, and it's very corner you can just easily run wild because of the tiniest bit off camber. But can he force Craig into his mistake? Craig's not got as much right hand side of the tyre as VTR. I know that some of them, I know VTR I think listens to the commentary. I'm not sure about Craig, but if either of them do listen or listening, they will know that VTR's got the advantage on front tyre. But Craig's got the advantage on the rear tyre. Here comes VTR up the inside into turn 1 on the final lap of the race, but he just can't quite force his way through. Out of turn 1 into turn 2 is another passing point. But VTR can't get past. So now he's got to wait. It's surely got to be on the exit of turn 9 into turn 10. That's probably your next best moment to make a move. As Minato takes his long lap penalty, and he's come out right by Nelson. Right, this is where the move's going to happen if it's going to take place. Here comes VTR. He's going to run the inside curve. He's going to pull out to the inside. He tried this last time. He's going to do the block pass. He's up the inside of Craig. The two make contact. And VTR's holding the advantage. Craig has been forced off the circuit. And VTR takes the lead of the race for the first time. But Craig's looking up the inside at turn 12. He's going to force his way underneath the factory, brilliant rider. And he retakes the lead. And this could be a crucial moment for the championship. Into the chicane, but VTR's holding it around the outside. Trying to use the inside curve, but he can't do so. So line for the hairpin, he's sending it. He's got more grip. We're now into the final corner. Craig surely got set up with his arm. Nelson's gone down. There's some I don't know what's going on here. But coming up to the line, and I think VTR has won the battle between himself and Craig. So VTR crosses the line and takes the victory ahead of Craig in second. Minato takes third. Nelson will finish in fourth. Schmoyes is fifth, and Howling Siege in sixth. So let's have the confirmed results as we have a black screen because I think Nelson's just gone straight away. So VTR is the victor. Craig is, so that means the gap at the top of the championship is now 12 points. So just makes Craig's life that tiny bit more difficult. Minato is third, Nelson's fourth, Schmoy's fifth, and Howling in sixth. So going to Part Ferme, we'll go straight to Craig.
Hello.
So Craig, near perfect performance there. You led for 99% of that race, but unfortunately just been pipped to the post by VTR in the last sector. How do you feel about this race and for the overall situation of the championship heading towards the final round?
I enjoyed the race. Quite nervous, knowing VTR was close behind me. I can't remember what lap, but towards the end of the race, I activated my ride height and I lost a lot of time. I think it's like 3 corners after sector 2 split. My ride height device was activated and it wouldn't go back down. So that compromised me a lot, and I actually thought I was going to crash because of it. And I think I lost probably like 0.4 to half a second because of that. But overall, I had a great race. Bit of a bummer. I think it was 9 points before this race. What's the difference between first and second?
3 points, so I think it's 12.
It's not. It's a little bit harder now, but you know, I'm trying to give my my all in the last round, considering there's a sprint as well. But I did enjoy today's race. Bit nervous at the start, got my head down, and then as soon as I saw Vita behind me following, you know, I just started getting a bit more nervous. But I actually thought I was going to win until the last sector. I thought I left the door open too much. But yeah, well done to Vita, great battle. It's unfortunate that he's ill, so I'm not sure if he'll do the interview, but yeah, well done to him, and yeah, thank you.
Yeah, sent me a text, but was one more question on your mind was track limits, because in my experience around this track limits, all it takes is one error around one corner and you could pick